There are encounters that cannot be explained, people who appear in our lives as if they were the answer to a silent prayer made deep within the soul. They do not make noise, do not ask for space, but in some way they fill something inside us. Have you felt this? That peace that comes with a glance, a hug, or even with someone's silence? A type of connection that does not require effort. It just happens. As if the soul recognizes something that the mind does not yet understand. These encounters are not by chance. They are spiritual. There are people whom God sends at exact moments with precise words, with simple gestures, but with a deep mission. And many times, only later, do we realize how sacred that moment was. David and Jonathan recognized each other in spirit at first glance. They did not need proof or time. It was something direct, true. This happens when two chosen ones meet. And this connection has a divine touch. In this video, I want to show you 7 clear signs that you have found another chosen one. These are subtle but unmistakable clues that this person was placed by God in your path. And more than that, they came with a purpose. You will notice that it is not about the quantity of time, but about the depth of presence. Sometimes one encounter is enough to transform an entire life. Other times, this chosen one remains as a continuous gift from heaven. Prepare your heart to identify what you may have already experienced, but have not yet named. As you listen, faces may come to your mind. This is a sign that you are about to see with the eyes of the Spirit. And in the end, you might also ask yourself, have I ever been that chosen one in someone's life? If you are interested in content that touches the soul and awakens the spirit, go ahead and like this video, share it with someone special, and subscribe to the channel. Here, we talk about the invisible that transforms the visible, and you are a part of it. 1. Instant spiritual connection. It's not affinity, it's purpose. Some people come in and change the atmosphere without effort. Just being present brings peace. It's different from a common sympathy. It's as if the spirit responds first, before the mind understands what is happening. You can't explain exactly why, but something inside you recognizes, this person has something to do with me. It's a feeling of lightness, as if you could breathe more freely near them. There's no need to force conversation or try to appear as something you're not. The exchange happens naturally, without effort, without tension. You know when the silence between two people is not uncomfortable? When, even in quiet, you are communicating. This is one of the hallmarks of this type of encounter. It doesn't demand anything. It just invites presence. Many times, these encounters happen during moments of transition, when we are starting something new or closing an important cycle. As if God wanted to say, you are not alone. It was like that with Mary and Elizabeth. They met, and something spiritual happened there. John the Baptist leaped in the womb. The Holy Spirit manifested, and neither needed to explain much. It wasn't about common friendship, it was about spiritual recognition. 2 women, 2 wombs, 2 promises, and a meeting that activated all of this silently and powerfully. These connections do not follow human logic. Sometimes you know someone for just a few minutes, but it feels like you have known them for years. And this is not a coincidence, it's purpose. When a chosen one crosses your path, they do not come with flashy appearances or grand speeches, but their presence speaks, their gaze welcomes, their energy communicates. It's something that touches deeply. You might try to ignore, rationalize, or doubt. But the Spirit knows. There is an internal certainty that you feel, even if you cannot put it into words. It's not about common tastes or similar stories. It's not about personality affinity. It's about mission. It's as if God is uniting two hearts with complementary purposes. This person did not come to fill a void. They came to activate something, a calling, a memory, an inner movement that was asleep in you. And this explains the peace they bring, the tranquility you feel, the relief of knowing that there is someone who understands you, even without needing to hear all the details. Perhaps you are remembering someone right now, and not by chance, because true spiritual encounters leave invisible but unforgettable marks. This connection does not depend on time. It can last minutes or a lifetime. What matters is what it awakens in you. It's about how you feel next to this person. More yourself, closer to God. There are encounters that do not change what you think. They change how you feel. And this is already the beginning of a much greater transformation. Sometimes what we need is not someone to solve our problems. It's someone who looks at us and, without saying anything, says, "I see you." The chosen carry this gift. They see us beyond appearances. They perceive us in the Spirit. And when two chosen ones meet, heaven moves. If you have ever experienced something like this, cherish it. Not everyone has the chance to experience this type of encounter, and if you haven't yet, prepare yourself. Because God knows exactly when to make two purposes intersect. 2. Words with the weight of healing. Speak little, but speak with soul. Not everyone who speaks touches. There are people who talk a lot, but say nothing. And there are those who, with a simple sentence, seem to reach something deep within us. The chosen are like that. They do not need to shout to be heard. Their words carry something invisible, but that transforms from within. Many times, what they say is not even that complex. Sometimes, it's a simple question, an observation, an unpretentious piece of advice. But on the other side, something opens up, as if that speech fits exactly at the right point of the soul. Jesus did this with the Samaritan woman. He spoke little, but every word that came out of his mouth went straight to the heart of that woman. And that was enough to heal old wounds and rewrite her story. This is the power of a chosen one. They do not need many words because they carry presence. And when they speak, something aligns within the listener. The most beautiful thing is that many times they do not even know how much they are being used by God. They speak naturally, simply, but the effect they cause is deep, almost supernatural. Has this happened to you? To be lost, tired, or confused, and someone arrives, says something seemingly common, but it feels like the answer you have been waiting for days? It is not a coincidence. It is a divine instrument. It is God manifesting through an ordinary person, but with an extraordinary purpose. These words do not come loaded with judgment. They do not pressure, do not blame, do not hurt. They welcome, illuminate, direct. And when they confront, they do so with love, respect, and the intention of healing. The chosen have spiritual sensitivity. Sometimes they perceive pains that you haven't even mentioned. They feel what is heavy on your chest and carefully put into words what you haven't yet managed to express. And the most impressive thing, They speak with soul. They do not lecture. They do not try to impress. They speak with truth. And that is what heals. We live in a time when many people speak, but few listen. The chosen listen with their hearts. And that's why, when they speak, they reach where it is most needed. Words like that are not forgotten. They echo inside us. They bring direction amid chaos. Sometimes they do not solve everything, but they calm the heart to continue. Many of us have gone through moments when we just needed the right phrase, a confirmation, an encouragement, and that is exactly what a chosen one brings. They are like small windows opened by God amid cloudy days. Sometimes they do not even realize the good they have done, but those who received never forget. That is why we need to be attentive. Not all healing comes through great miracles. Some come discreetly within a conversation, in a simple sentence, in an unexpected moment. When you meet a chosen one, pay attention to what they say. It may be that the answer you have been seeking in so many silent prayers is there. And if one day you heard something that changed your course, something that reignited your faith, your hope, thank, because you were reached by someone who carries purpose in their voice. Remember, the words of a chosen one are not just sounds, they are seeds, and at the right time, they bloom within those who listened with an open heart. 3. Presence that calms storms, sent for moments of crisis. There are phases in life when everything seems to fall apart. The heart gets tired, the mind overloaded, and the body weak. It is in these moments that the presence of a chosen one makes all the difference. Even if they say nothing, they do not come with ready-made solutions. They do not have answers for everything, but their presence brings relief. It's as if suddenly the weight becomes lighter. The tears come more sincerely, and the silence becomes a safe space. The chosen know how to be present, and sometimes that is more than enough. It is not about what they do, but about what they carry. They come with peace, with compassion, with a gaze that says, I am here with you. When Elijah was exhausted, emotionally and physically, God did not send riches or magical solutions. He sent a widow, a simple woman almost without resources, but with the essential sensitivity and purpose. She did not solve everything, but she was the necessary provision at that moment, someone who listened, welcomed, and walked alongside. And that sustained Elijah until he was ready to continue his journey. Often, the chosen appear in the midst of crisis, when everything seems directionless. And even without fully understanding what you are going through, they feel and they respect your pain. They do not judge your weariness. They do not rush your process. They know how to wait with you. They hold your hand. And when they pray, even softly, something changes inside you. Have you ever lived this? To be sinking and suddenly someone appears, and just the fact that they are there changes your day? This person may not know, but they were sent, not by chance, but by purpose. Because sometimes the greatest miracle is not someone pulling you out of the hole. It is someone entering the hole with you, just to remind you that you are not alone. The chosen have this rare gift, to calm storms that no one else sees, to place a hand on your shoulder even without understanding what you are feeling, and convey security. That is why, when a chosen one enters your life in a moment of pain, you never forget them. Because it was not just the person, it was the presence of God, clothed in care. And if today you are in this place of pain, Ask God to send you someone like that, because He sends at the right time, in the most unexpected way. He sends. 4. What confronts also heals. Truth spoken with love sets you free. Not all healing comes with sweet words. Sometimes it arrives like a shock, like a mirror that forces us to see what we have avoided for a long time. And the chosen, when sent by God, also come with this role. They are not afraid to say what needs to be said, but they say it with love. It is a truth that does not hurt. It awakens. It does not come with judgment. It comes with the intention to lift up. It is different from common criticism, from empty accusation. What they say has direction. It has purpose. The Bible tells of the moment when the prophet Nathan was sent to David. David had sinned, and no one dared to confront him. But God chose Nathan for that, and he went with wisdom, courage, and truth. Nathan did not shout. He did not expose. He told a story, and at the end, pointed firmly, "That man is you." David understood. He cried, and there his restoration began. That is what a chosen one does. They say what no one has the courage to say, but they say it in a way that you can hear, because it is not about wounding, it is about healing. Have you experienced this? Someone telling you something that hurt at the moment, but later set you free? Words that touched your wound but made you awaken? These people are not common. They do not come to humiliate you. They come to remind you of who you really are. And that sometimes requires confrontation. Not everyone is ready to hear the truth. But when it comes through the hands of a chosen one, it enters differently. Because along with the truth comes love, comes care, comes respect. These people can say what needs to be said without destroying. They correct without pushing away. They touch the wound, but with gentle hands. And we feel they are saying this because they care. And that transforms, because when we are confronted with love, we do not feel shame, we feel hope. It is as if someone is saying, "I see your flaw, but I see your greatness too." The chosen do not feed illusions. They do not say what we want to hear. They say what we need, even if it costs them friendship, approval, or the comfort of the moment. But what they gain in return is something much greater. The chance to help you get back on the right path, to prevent you from getting even more lost. You may even resist at first. You might get angry, sad, or confused. But over time, you will understand that speech was a gift, a heavenly warning disguised as a difficult conversation. And perhaps someday you will look back and think, "I'm glad they told me that." The true chosen ones are not just companions for good days. They are instruments of God for the changes we would not have the courage to make alone. If today someone is confronting you with love, listen. It may be difficult now, but it will be liberating later. And if you feel like you need to say something to someone, pray first and speak with love, as a chosen one would. 5. Activated spiritual memory. They remind you of who you are. There are days when we lose ourselves. We drift away from what we believe, forget our dreams, disconnect from our essence. Life weighs us down, and without realizing it, we begin to live in survival mode. We only follow routines, go with the flow. It is then that a chosen one can appear, and with words or actions reminds us of who we really are. They have a special way of activating spiritual memories, not common memories of facts or dates, but memories of our calling, our faith, our purpose. It's as if by speaking to you, something inside awakens, an ancient strength, a conviction that was dormant. Moses was like that. He had fled Egypt, disbelieved in himself. He hid, became a shepherd, tried to live a simple, distant life. But God called him back, using the burning bush. That was not just a miracle, it was a reminder. You are not just this. You were called to something greater. That is what God said there. And many times, He uses people to say the same thing to us. People who see us beyond our pains, beyond our mistakes, beyond the difficult phase. People who look at us with spiritual eyes. These chosen ones do not flatter us, but they also do not belittle us. They reposition us. They remind us of our strength, our worth, our mission. Have you ever talked to someone who made you remember things you had already forgotten about yourself? A conversation that reignited your faith, that reminded you of your worth. That is a spiritual memory being activated, and it is one of the most beautiful marks a chosen one can leave. They do not need to know everything about you, but they carry a discernment that comes from God, and they know how to touch on precise points as if they have a map of your soul. Sometimes they just look at you with truth, and that is enough, because there are gazes that say, you are more than what you are living now, and we feel that. These encounters do not have a formula. They happen in the simplest places, in a phone call, a message, a quick conversation. But the impact lasts a long time. The chosen do not try to change you. They only help you remember who you have always been before everything confused you. This does not mean that you will go back to being like you were before, but that you will rediscover what was dormant in you. And that changes everything. If today you feel disconnected from yourself, ask God to send you someone like that. A chosen one with words, gestures, or a presence that reconnects you with your true self. And when that happens, value it. Because there are encounters that do not bring answers, but awaken questions that lead to your essence. But when he finally revealed himself to his brothers in Egypt, he understood all of that had a purpose. He was prepared to save lives, not just with food, but with reconciliation, with mercy, with faith. He was chosen not to be served, but to serve. Being chosen is not about having a position of prominence. It is about being available, having a sensitive heart, being a channel of healing even when you are also in process. You may be going through struggles right now and still be used to illuminate someone else's path, because often the power is not in having everything resolved. It is in having true empathy. The world needs people like that, who carry purpose in their eyes, who speak with intention, who listen with their hearts, who do not live for themselves but make themselves available to heaven. And the most beautiful thing is that you do not need to be perfect. The chosen ones are not the strongest or most prepared. They are just the most willing to obey, even when they do not understand everything. Perhaps you have already done this and didn't even realize it. Maybe someone is praying and thanking God for something you did, and you don't even know. And if you still haven't felt that way, start paying attention, because every gesture of yours can carry something eternal, a seed planted in someone's spirit. So ask yourself, am I available to be a channel of God in someone else's life? Because sometimes being chosen is simply being where you need to be with the right heart. You do not need to change the whole world, but you can change someone's world. And that is already a mission accomplished. Chosen ones recognize each other by their presence, not by their appearance. The true chosen ones do not wear badges. They do not care to be seen. They do not shout to be noticed. They simply are. And when they enter someone's life, they leave a trail of peace, a mark of purpose, a light that is not of the world. It is from heaven. If you have ever experienced such a meeting, cherish it. Keep it close to your heart, because it was divine. And if you haven't experienced it yet, trust. God knows the right time, and perhaps He is preparing you to be that someone, the chosen one who arrives in silence but transforms with presence. If this content touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Here, we talk about connections that come from heaven. And who knows? The next message could be the sign you were waiting for.